Developing tonight, close to 2 years into the war in Gaza, President Trump says Hamas and Israel have agreed to the first phase of a plan to end that fighting and free hostages held in the war-torn Palestinian territory. On Truth Social, the president wrote, in part, the agreement means that all of the hostages will be released very soon, and Israel will withdraw their troops to an agreed-upon line. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu released a statement saying he will convene with his government tomorrow to approve that agreement. Hamas said in a statement the deal would ensure the withdrawal of Israeli troops as well as allow for the entry of aid and exchange of hostages and prisoners. It's not yet clear, however, whether negotiators made progress on whether Hamas will demilitarize. That's something that the president had demanded. New at 10 tonight, Fort Smith Public School District looking at making some changes to elementary school boundaries. It's called right-sizing and rezoning. It's an effort to make each school more efficient and effective, and it could mean more schools are closed. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer tells us what it could mean for families and how the district says it will improve education.
The district is considering right-sizing Spradling Elementary and Carnell Elementary.
Right-sizing basically means that you make your student enrollment match your building capacity.
Dr. Tiffany Bone, deputy superintendent, says right-sizing isn't just about closing schools.
And when you are right-sized and you're in a building that has multiple staff members, the staff they collaborate better. The students have more resources.
Right now, there are 3 possible plans for both schools, and public input meetings are underway to hear from parents and staff. Carrie Miller had children at Carnell for more than 10 years.
I can understand the business side of things, but it is personal for us as well. And it's we've always felt like Carnell was kind of the heartbeat of that community.
She says many students walk or bike to school and says closing Carnell could make that much harder.
Keep at least one in every single neighborhood to give them a sense of community still, because I think if you don't, you will lose that. And the kids are going to suffer for it.
Arlene Betancourt, another parent and former employee at Carnell, says she's also concerned about accessibility for families.
Where if you rezone and you get more kids, you're going to continue to see that building thrive. Those communities need that building to stay open.
Dr. Bones says any decision would include reassigning teachers and staff to those other schools, and they all have the space and capacity to handle additional students. And they have transportation plans in place.
It's a hard process to do. I think it's necessary, and I think that our board will make the very right decision, the very best decision for the students and the staff that we serve.
In Fort Smith, covering news where you live, Lauren Spencer, 5 News.
The district had previously right-sized both trustee and or elementary schools, and right now Fort Smith schools taking feedback from public meetings that will present that information to the school board in December. The board will then ultimately decide whether to move forward with this right-sizing plan. Meanwhile, the Fort Smith Police Department is giving an update on its newly formed Violent Crimes Task Force. We told you when the unit was established in July, and today 5 News is learning the unit has made 12 arrests, and of those, 3 suspects were juveniles. The arrest resulted in 25 felony charges and the recovery of 5 firearms. Charges ranged from aggravated assault and battery to evidence tampering. The task force was formed because of what the department called a spike in violent crimes. Drive-by shootings and 1 shooting death was part of the reason. Fort Smith police say the task force is temporary and more information would be shared once the task force comes to a close. Former Farmington Police Chief Brian Hubbard has passed away, the department announcing his death today on its Facebook page. Hubbard officially retired from the department on September 1st. Mike Wilbanks has been the police chief since then. Farmington police say Hubbard was a mentor, a friend, a leader, and served as an example of honorable service. Government shutdown now in its 8th day, raising concerns about potential impacts on local services and communities. Local organizations in Northwest Arkansas preparing as the shutdown continues. They say they're worried that benefits like SNAP and Medicaid could be affected in the long term. Aid groups like the Area Agency on Aging already facing challenges in renewing contracts and accessing necessary information.
Our agency manages 12 HUD housing complexes for the elderly in Northwest Arkansas, and the account executives that we usually go to for information have been furloughed or laid off. I'm not sure exactly which one it is, but so we're not able to renew contracts and get get questions answered on policy that we would normally be able to do.
While some programs remain funded, the future remains uncertain for many who rely on federal assistance. Organizations are asking the public to stay informed and support local initiatives. Tensions climbed on Capitol Hill today as Republicans and Democrats faced off, blaming each other still for another day of government shutdown. Erica Brown tells us all this comes as federal workers are imploring Congress now to find a path forward so they can get paid.
As the government shutdown entered its 8th day, federal employee unions urged Congress to quickly reopen the government as hundreds of thousands of workers go without pay.
I'm not here to say that Democrats should fold or Republicans should fold. I'm saying that both of them should come together, resolve these issues, and open the government.
It comes as tensions spilled over Wednesday on Capitol Hill with no signs of any negotiations to end the shutdown.
So you voted for this one big ugly bill.
For this. You can extend it right now.
A permanent extension of massive tax breaks for your billionaire donors.
So 90% of Americans.
So they can get a permanent extension.
90% of Americans take the standard deduction.
Lawmakers remain deadlocked over health care. Democrats want an extension of Affordable Care Act subsidies, saying without it, insurance premiums will rise for millions of Americans.
Families are going to have to make decisions about, do I pay my rent or do I pay that insurance premium?
Republicans insist the shutdown should end first.
We're not going to budge on our insistence that we have to open government back up.
If the standoff stretches past this week, over 1 million active duty service members will not receive their next paychecks, despite having to report for duty. Here on Capitol Hill, Speaker Mike Johnson has not called the House back into session, saying it's up to the Democrats in the Senate to support the Republican bill already on the table to reopen the government. The shutdown also continues to impact air travel nationwide, with travelers at multiple airports bracing for more delays due to air traffic control staffing shortages. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Meanwhile, a woman in Arkansas is also feeling the impacts of the shutdown as she grieves the death of her husband. Brenda Stewart's husband recently passed away in Hot Springs, and he was a veteran. Normally, she would get reimbursed for his burial, but the shutdown means she's having trouble getting the documents she needs. Local advocates are doing what they can to help out, but they're seeing the same roadblocks.
When I went to access the National Archives, it gave the message that due to the government shutdown, we were unable to access these documents.
Now, the main document in question is called the DD-214, which proves that someone is or was a veteran. And with the National Archives being shut down, Stewart can't get her husband's record. She says balancing paying for his burial herself or buying basic necessities is what's on her mind now. Aiken recommends veterans or their family members reach out to local organizations like the VFW for help in situations like this. Looking ahead to tomorrow, the Chickamauga Nation will hold a press conference to talk about ongoing discussions it's having with the state of Arkansas on that Franklin County prison project. Western Regional Medical Chief Justin Flanagan says he spoke with the Board of Corrections Chairman Benny Magnus last week, but he wasn't allowed to voice his concerns to the full Board of Corrections and the public. The news conference, by the way, will be happening tomorrow night at the Charleston Community Center starting at 6. We'll keep you updated on any updates from tomorrow's press conference right here on 5 News. And opening day for the Arkansas State Fair in Little Rock is Friday. This year's fair includes music performances from Trey Songs and 38 Special, along with livestock showings and, of course, cooking competitions and all that crazy food, that fair food that you just need. Fair runs through Sunday, the 19th.